Hi, this is Laura. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to show you how I made these earrings here. I had done a short on these and I had a viewer asked if I could do a tutorial, and so that's what I'm going to do. These are made with a bead mix that I just made of like some greens and pinks put together. I just started combining some of my favorite colors of Delicas and made a little mix. And then on the end, I put like, this here is a 15-0, so you're gonna need some 15-0s as well, and some 3mm bicones. We're going to make the mate to this earring. So for this earring, you're going to need a component. I'm using a pear component. You could use a round, whatever you prefer. And then I've got a post here that attaches with a jump ring. So I'm gonna need a jump ring and then a wire guard, because I've attached the jump ring and the post with the wire guard on these particular earrings here. But if that's something you'd like to see, come back. I'll show you how I made my bead mix and then we'll get started. This is a brick stitch. Oh, I just wanted to mention too, for the thread, I used Fireline 6-pound crystal and a size 11 beading needle. So what I did was I took several autumnal fall colors of my Delicas that I thought would be pretty together. And all you do is pour them out and mix them together. So, I mean, it's not a real science to it. I've got like an opaque, this one here is an opaque bronze. This is more of a galvanized metallic bronze, a bright orange. This is a gold, an opaque gold, which I really like. A lighter colored peach. And then for a pop of more color, red. And just took my bead triangle and mixed it all up. And then I brick stitched around the component. When I was picking up a bead, which I'll show you, I just tried to not put the same two colors next to each other, but it's pretty random. And then you're also going to need a size 15 seed bead. This is a 15 Mayuki. And I also made a bead mix with, you're also going to need 3mm bicones. And I made a bead mix. I didn't have a whole lot of any fall color, one fall color left, so I kind of made a bead mix with several, like a peachy and a orange and a red. Just kind of did the same thing as I did with the Delicas. So come on back, thread your needle, and we'll get started brick stitching. Okay, so I've threaded my needle with a good wingspan of thread, and that should get you all through this whole earring without having to add thread. And then I'm going to pick up a bead, and you come from the back to the front underneath that component. And you pull, leave enough of a tail to sew in, and now you're going to go through the front of the component right here up that bead. And pull, and the first couple beads are always the most difficult. And so we've got our first bead on. Going to pick up another bead. These are size 11 Delicas, if I haven't mentioned that before. But when you're brick stitching, you can experiment with all type of sizes and see what you like. I'm going from the back to the front. Pull that thread through, and then now you're just going to go up the front of this and that bead, just like that. Okay, we've got our first 2 beads on. Now I'm going to pick up another bead, coming from the back to the front. And you're going to go up that bead. Pick up another bead. Now we're going to go over this component and then up that bead. And that's what I'm just going to do all the way around. I'll do one more, and then I'll go off and come back. Okay, and I'm gonna come back when I've got the first round done. Okay, so I've got my first round done, and you could even leave it like this. I think that makes a pretty earring. Let's put an ear wire on the top there, but we're gonna move on. What I'm gonna do next is thread this tail thread and sew it in to get that out of the way. Okay, so I've threaded this tail thread, and I'm just going to sew down this last one that I put on, and then sew up the first one. And sew down. Sew up, and then just do that several times. We don't tie any knots in brick stitch. And I'll go back one, down, up, down, and then I'm going to burn that off with my thread burner. Okay, I lost a clip when I started the second row here. I had gotten all the way down to here, and I'm not sure what happened to that clip, but the procedure is the same, so I'm going to just show you again. We are going to, instead of using the component to go from back to front, we're taking the thread bridge now between the beads. So I'm going to pick up a bead, go through that thread bridge, pull through, and then go up. And pick up a bead, put your needle from back to front through that thread bridge, and then up that bead. Pick up a bead from back to front. Pick up a bead under that thread bridge. And then up that bead. And as you pull up, it straightens that bead up right next to the previous. Do a couple more. Let's do an orange one. Go under that thread bridge. And up that bead. Pick up a bead under that thread bridge. And you can make as many rows as you want of the brick stitch. I'm stopping at 2, and then we're going to add a picot. I'll come back when I've got the rest done and show you how I did the picot so that I can sew the 3mm bicone through. Pick up a bead. Go under that thread bridge. And then up. And I'll be back when I've got this second row done. All right, I've got my second row on, and if I were just going to put another row on, I would put a couple more Delicas here, but this is where I'm going to add my wire guard. So I'm coming out of the top of this bead here. I'm going to pick up my wire guard. Sew through one end, go through the other side like that, making sure the thread stays in the grooves here. There's a groove right here. And then I'm going to go down this Delica. And I'm just going to reinforce that. I'm going to sew down and then up and then around again, and then I'll be back and I'll put on the picot. Okay, so I have gone ahead and reinforced the wire guard and sewn around to come out the top of this first bead right here. And all we're going to do is we're going to take whatever color 15-ohs, pick up 3, coming out of this bead, go down, one right next to it. Make sure they form a little picot, and then I'm just going to go up that next bead, which is that red one there, like that. And then add 3, go down the next bead, which is that bronzy colored one. Go up that next bead, which is the orange one. Now you're only going up and down the second row. You're not going all the way down to the first row. Pick up 3, 15-0, come down the next bead, which is that opaque gold one. Make sure it forms a little point. This is what we have so far. It's just gonna look nice and lacy all the way around. I'm gonna go up that next bead, the red one. Pick up 3. Come down the one right next to it, and just that next one, not the bottom row. Pull through. Then I'm going to go up the next bead, pick up 3 more, down the one right next to it, which is this orange one. Where is that? There we go. I'm gonna go up that next red bead, pick up 3, come down that next bead. Now you could also stop right here, and I have done earrings like this where I just leave the picot. I think that's really pretty too. But we're gonna move on. I'm gonna go all the way around, then I'll be back. All right, so I've got my picot row done all the way around. And I just wanted to point something out in case this happens to you. When you're doing brick stitch, you never know if it's gonna be an even amount of beads. Like if there was one more bead here, I could put another picot, but since there's just one bead, I can't. So, I mean, you just gotta kind of eyeball it, and if you're looking at the earring, it doesn't really make a difference. It still looks just as pretty. So I sewed up this bead, and I'm going to go up those 2. So I'm coming out of the top bead on the picot. And here is where I'm going to start adding my, get this out of the way here. Pick up these beads. This is where I'm going to start adding my bicones. So we're just going to pick up a 3mm bicone and sew through the next top bead of each picot. I'll show you what I mean. And this is a mix too. I made a mix of different fall colored 3mm bicones. I'm coming out of this top of this picot here. I'm just going to sew right into the next, like that. And I'm just going to kind of do random, but be careful not to put the same color right next to each other. So into the top of that next picot. Pick up another 3mm bicone. There you go. I'm just going to do that all the way around. Sewing through the top of that set of 3. Pick up a bicone. And bicones, I love working with bicones because even though they're sharp, you got to be careful that your thread doesn't get cut when you're using them. That's why, like, I'm using, I think, a 6 or 8 pound with bicones. I like to, because there's so many facets to them that if you pull too tight, I have broken the thread and have had to start over. So, but they are gorgeous. I just love working with them. Sewing, coming out of this bead here. This picot needs to come up a little bit. Pick up a bicone. So from the top of this picot to this one. Pick up another bicone. Let's go with this color. Going to do that all the way around. You could also experiment. I've made brick stitch earrings with a 3mm pearl here too, and that looks really pretty. Okay, I'll be back when I've finished all the bicones. Okay, I'm coming down to the end. I got 2 more bicones to put on. Pick up a red one. Go through that. Pick up one more. Go through the last top bead of that final picot. And then I'm just gonna sew my threads in like I did, like I showed you earlier, going up and down, and until I feel like it's sewed in and safe. And then I'll come back and we'll put on the post. Okay, so we have finished the mate to this earring, and I'm just going to go ahead and pick up the post. Post has a little loop coming out this way. I'm going to attach it to the wire guard with a jump ring. This is a 4mm jump ring. Just going to take the jump ring, open it up, put it through the post and the wire guard, and close it up. There you go. And put the backing on it. And now we've got a cute fall colored pair of earrings. So here are our earrings. I love the way they turned out. Now you could certainly make it all one color or just a couple different colors. You don't have to do a bead mix, but I just think that looks really pretty together. So let me know in the comments if you're going to make these earrings and what colors you're going to use. I truly appreciate you joining me today, and if you enjoy my videos, I'd love it if you'd subscribe, ring that bell, and you'll be notified of any time I upload a new video. If you like this video, give me a like, and I will see you next time.